Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Love is in the air, Valentine's Day, chocolate, flowers. Has anyone ever been on a blind date? Good, bad? Feelings of rejection, emotion. Well, back in the 90s, when I was looking to have an arranged marriage, you can think of an arranged marriage as a blind date for the whole family. And it was very emotional times, lots of rejections. Thought I'd tell you a story from that time. A few years after graduating, so mid-90s, I was working at BA, everything was good. Then I'd come home to Luton where my parents were. My mum would be saying, "You got a good job, you got a good car, you need a good wife." Every weekend for years. And then we'd go and have a few meetings. Sometimes the other side, the girl's family or the girl would say no. Rejection, upsetting. I was a sensitive soul in those days. Sometimes I would say no, and I'd feel even worse. And then sometimes the girl would say yes, I would say yes, and my parents would say no. In the end, I just got so fed up with it. I'm going to find someone myself. And at BA, I was one of the first people to get email, which would go outside of the company. So it was just at the beginning of the internet. And that was so exciting because I found this, I was quite religious Sikh in those days, with turban and beard. And I found this Sikh group. There were Sikhs in America, Canada, Malaysia, India. It's like, wow, a whole new world opened up. I got chatting to a girl on there from America. No pictures, no attachments, not even any phone calls because it used to be so expensive to call. And she said, and then we left it as she's coming over to England in a few weeks and she'll message me when she's here. So in the meantime, I used to go to the temple quite a lot, the Gurdwara, and I was walking around and I felt this burning sensation in the back of my head. Looked around, there was an elderly lady, auntie, we used to call them aunties, and she was just staring at me, following me around. And then she got my attention. She said, "Oh, my niece is coming from abroad, and are you looking to get married?" And one thing led to another. I said, "Yeah." So blind date for the whole family at her house on the weekend. My dad was talking to this other family's dad, and my mum was talking to the mum, finding things in common. And I was sitting there wondering who is the actual, the prospective girl. And a young lady walked in with the tea, poured the tea, smiled, and then walked away. And I thought, oh, I know who it is now. And then another young lady came in, and she gave out samosas. And she smiled, and then she walked out. I thought, oh, what's going on here? And then after a while, the auntie stood up, the conversations were going on, the teas were drunk, and the samosas were eaten. And then she said, "Oh, would you like to talk now? Would you like to talk now?" I said, "Okay." So I stood up and I looked over, who will stand up? And they both stood up. Okay. So auntie went, I followed her, the young ladies followed, and we sat down in a sort of separate room so we could talk. And the older girl, we called them girl, the young ladies were saying girl, so the older girl, she started speaking. She said, I'm the niece that my aunt arranged this for, but this is my sister, and she's the one you've been talking to on email." I was like, I went bright red. I thought, oh, OMG. And they were so nice about it. And then she was saying, who would you like to talk to? And I'm like, can I just run as well? So more emotion, more drama, more heartache, more So then I thought, you know what? I've had enough of this. I wouldn't meet anyone for 6 months, and then years and years went by, and a few more things happened, more heartache, more rejection, and then in the end, how long, you hit rock bottom, and you think, I've got to do something. I can't be held hostage by my emotions. So I finally decided, look, I'm going to get the strength, I'm going to face my rejections and emotions, I have to, because it's so important, I have to do it. Then an aunt at that time, she just made an off-the-cuff comment and she said, I wonder which corner of the world your wife is in. And that kind of stuck with me, and I thought maybe broaden my horizons, not just England or Luton, but really pushing it. And then somehow we ended up in India, and then there's another auntie, my mum's friend, and then they started talking, and she said, oh, I know this young girl, I know the family, and before I knew it, there was another blind date, a family for the whole family, and then within 9 days I was married. Wow. Within 9 days I was married, had the honeymoon, came back, and 4 months later my wife Lavinda was over here. And now, almost 25 years later, we've got 3 lovely daughters, and it's all worked out well. I mean, married life, ups and downs, but it's better than not being married overall. So in summary, I would say, if you're in whatever's important to you in life, it could be a relationship, could be a job, promotion, or whatever it is, and you may have tried, and you've got this rejection after rejection, and maybe it's ground you down year after year after year, but there's no good like crawling into our shell and withdrawing from life, because is that why we came on this planet, to withdraw from life? So I would say, find the strength, face your emotions, don't be held hostage by them. And just to leave you with this song lyric from Chumbawamba, if you remember that. What? Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, but I get up again, I get knocked down,